Welcome to the best of high school sports in Northern California. We are MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD.
And we come to you bearing big grins and the Sac Joaquin section boys and girls basketball brackets. We're going to size up some of the teams, what to look for, and then there's a real shocker low seed, and we'll try to comprehend and understand that as well.
Welcome back for another edition of MaxPreps Sacramento, powered by SMUD. I'm Mike Finnerty, joined as always by Joe Davidson, the Sacramento Bee. As we had mentioned at the top of the show, we have our basketball playoff preview. Joe, we're going to cover boys and girls, go over each of the brackets, and kind of give you who we think might be contenders for this year's section championships out at Sleep Train Arena.
Yeah, and the Sac Joaquin section is the second largest section in the state. There's 10 of them. And this is a great-looking field. I think the Division I field for boys is as deep as I've ever seen it. I've been at the Sacramento Bee since 1988. And the girls has a real surprise low seed, which is going to be very interesting. We'll break that down. The small schools, hey, people think, well, who cares about the small schools? You know who cares about the small schools? The small schools.
Yeah.
And they play with a big-time championship heart. So we'll go over as many of these as we can and buckle up because the fun is just fast forward from here in a couple of weeks. The section championships will be at Sleep Train Arena, followed by the Northern California championships at Sleep Train Arena, capped by the CIF state championships in the same arena. That's where the Kings play to conclude a whirlwind march, and then we'll come staggering back in April, gasping and wheezing.
Well, as we know, this overlaps with the spring sports as well, so we kind of get a late start there. But it's fun. We love to be out. We love playoff time. There's no question about it, no matter what season it is. All right, Joe, let's just get into it. We're going to start off. Who are we going to go, boys or girls first? You decide.
Let's go with girls,
and
we'll go right to the smaller division right here. In fact, I'm going to hand you the
I'm
boys
not holding
brackets.
Anything. No, not doing it.
All right, girls really quick. The top seed is Sacramento Waldorf, longtime powerhouse, small school power. Other teams as well.
Division 6.
This is Division 6, yep. And number 4 seed Valley Christian Academy has been a champion in this before out of Roseville. Victor Christian's been a factor. Sacramento Waldorf looks like your heavyweight there. And then the finals are Thursday, March 3rd at Galt High School. Disclaimer real quick, we get emails every year. Well, it's not fair. It's disrespectful to the small schools that they only play at Galt. Baloney and bogus, because the small schools, the Division 6, they're very happy to be playing at Galt, which is a nice venue, because there's not enough room to squeeze everybody in at Sleep Train Arena unless you want to play at 7:15 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So nobody's out the shaft anyway. There's no agenda. When the small school coaches all say unanimously, we're happy with this, then the consumer, otherwise known as the parent, should be as well.
Yeah, and the Lions, I believe, looking for 3 straight Division 6 championships for those girls there.
That's Valley Christian Academy of
Roseville. Yep. All right, let's move on to what we got. Division 5 here. If you can turn those pages.
Yeah.
Do you need your glasses?
Badly.
I might need mine.
All right, the top seed is the defending champion, Capital Christian out of Sacramento, Suzanne Baker, terrific coach. And we always like to mention her because she has lost championship games there and speaks like a champion and sportsman. And she's won, and she's still a champion with a great sportsmanship. So there's the way to handle winning and losing. Very talented team again. Capital Christian has some shooters, some inside play, some returning experience there. And really, this is a field that has teams from all over. Rio Vista, yep. Ripon Christian.
Central Valley heavy.
Yes, Holt Academy and Argonaut. So it should be Capital Christian, used to playing in the big house with a championship coach.
Yeah, coming off a championship the year before, it always gives you a lot of confidence when you go back there again, and they're your favorite, number 1 seed.
All right,
Division 4.
Sac Joaquin Section Division 4. Brookside Christian's the top seed, no surprise there. West Campus of Sacramento is the number 2 seed. But I think a dark horse is certainly right in the middle, number 5, Placer, with a big skilled player named Bailey Vanderdoes going to San Diego State. And when you have a dominating post who can score inside and out and run the floor, you got a shot.
Yeah, and she's, as you mentioned, the senior wants that championship before she goes out. Good luck to her, and they got a solid team. Definitely right there.
All right, Sac Joaquin Section Division 3 girls bracket really quick. Christian Brothers of Sacramento with a big win against St. Francis earlier this year. St. Francis a high seed in Division 1. You know Coach Ron Gully, I do too. He graduated some good players, brought in some good players, including some impact freshmen. They won waves of defenders at you, and they suffocate teams. This is a championship team. He likes this team more than any he's had in the past, and there's some familiar teams in the middle with league rivals.
Yeah, well, you look at Intercom right there, very good team. But, Joe, I'm going to kind of go down a little bit further. How about Rio Linda? This is a team we talked about last year. They made their way to Sleep Train Arena. This is a team that's very good. Coach Huffines likes his group, and he should. Watch out for Rio Linda. I could see a Rio Linda Christian Brothers matchup when that's all said and done.
Yeah,
Not
and they're on the opposite side of the brackets.
Yep.
And Intercom is another factor as well. Tri-County Conference rivals with Rio Linda. The team split right down to the wire. And then Bradshaw Christian is the 6th seed on the lower side of the bracket. This is a team that won consecutive championships, multiple championships in Division 4. Then you move up. It's a good rule by the Sac Joaquin section.
Yep. All right, Joe, we're going to leave the girls right there because we have plenty more in this show. We still have 3 more segments to go. Boys, girls. We also have our Placer Title Company insiders in this show as well. Our Makuni Sushi trivia question. Don't go around. Plenty more basketball preview.
Or don't go away.
Exactly.
This is your RAM Auto Update.
Just in, the classic term used car is old-fashioned, outdated, and no longer of any particular relevance. Let's party. The Roseville Auto Mall is throwing a massive factory-certified pre-owned sales event. That means incredible savings on just about every kind of car in the world. All factory certified. It's happening now. It's going fast. In layman terms, skedaddle. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Welcome back to the best of high school sports in Northern California. Strong emphasis on the Sacramento Valley and the Sac Joaquin section, brought to you by our good friends from...
These guys here. SMUD, Sacramento Municipal Utilities District. Plastered on our background here. All right, Joe, in that first segment, we covered girls Division 6, 5, 4, and 3. Now we've got girls Division 2 and 1. Let's go at it.
And these are the Sac Joaquin section girls basketball playoffs. It all starts this week. All games at 7 p.m., so there's no JV games, so it should, you'll be home by 8:30. Everybody gets home before curfew.
Are we ever home by 8:30?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right, the Division 2 field is headed by Antelope with 1 loss. The Titans, a newer school, relatively new school. Sean Chambers is a big-time coach, and he's got 2 players, the sisters, Nadia and Nia Johnson. You've seen them play. They're very talented. They're prolific. They have a loss from a couple weeks ago against Casuma's Oaks in league play, which I think helps. It's hard to be unbeaten. Nadia and Nia Johnson were in a terrible car accident after the last regular season game, but they're fine. Their father, Leland Johnson, who was a terrific player in the 1990s for Kennedy, he was banged up pretty bad, but the teenage kids recovered quicker. But so they're a little rattled, but they're okay, and this is a championship team, big time.
It definitely is. They came on the scene as we talked about last year. Young group, still young. This is where they got to really shine. And of course, you look at this bracket in that top half. The Sacramento Dragons, another loaded team, a young team. That's outside of just a couple seniors. This is a young team.
Yeah, and the senior anchor is Alicia Hernandez, a terrific guard. She could shoot, dribble, defend, going to UC Santa Barbara. But otherwise, there's a lot of very impressive freshmen, 5'7", 5'10", ball handlers, post players. So this is a program that's really going to do some damage here down the road. And the Sacramento Dragons are motivated, having lost a playoff opener last season to Ponderosa. And oh, by the way, Ponderosa is in this field as well. They're on the same side of the bracket as Sacramento and Antelope. And Ponderosa has Danielle Kraft, 6-foot senior, 4-year starter, all-time career scorer for the school. Big-time star players do damage, and on the bottom side of the bracket, it looks like it's clearly the second-seeded Vanden and some a Placer County opening game of note, Roseville against Laurel. So it'll get going here in a hurry. But the tougher bracket's the upper bracket.
It definitely is. Yeah, Antelope and Sac are your favorites there in that top half. Vanden should make their way all the way over, but you never know. That's why they play. All right, let's. So we're not giving predictions, by the way. We're just kind of giving you contenders. So let's go to Division 1, Joe, the premier bracket, I think. And you talked about this at the top of the show, and there was a team that was seated in a weird spot, and it happened in this bracket. Tell us.
Yeah, and the team that was seated correctly is St. Mary's of Stockton, the number 1 team in the country. This is a team that's unbeaten, will not get challenged probably the rest of the season. It's a powerhouse program. Number 2, Oak Ridge is the right seed. No losses in the section. The real head scratcher is the 7th seeded McClatchy Lions, the defending CIF State Division I champions. Okay, there's no consideration for pedigree from last year, but McClatchy has 1 loss in section play, and that was to Sacramento High School in league play, avenged just recently to tie for the league championship. The section seating committee, there's 10 folks. They're good people. They work hard. They're just crunching a bunch of stacks of paper and data, and there's a big oversight here. This should have not happened. You cannot have a powerhouse program like McClatchy and a powerhouse Oak Ridge in a second round game. They're both our top 2 ranked teams by the Sacramento Bee. I think in future seeding meetings, there has to be more emphasis on how many section losses do these teams have, because these are a section tournament, section playoffs, so section losses should be paramount. And if you're losing to powerhouse programs or even teams that are just decent or whatever out of section, we can't gauge because they're from a different section. So if McClatchy and Oak Ridge play in a second round game, that'll be 2 monster programs with 1 section loss between them and no chance to go to the NorCal finals or the NorCal playoffs, because there's the open division, which St. Mary's would go into, and teams like Oak Ridge and McClatchy would be in the regular Division I scramble. They're good enough to get back to the NorCal finals, just like last year, what McClatchy did.
Yeah, and it's not just this year where you're talking about these 2 teams have the reputation they do. McClatchy's defending state champion. They're in it every year. Oak Ridge, these are 2 of the top 3 teams along with Sac High every single year. So absolutely, even if you can go on history, but you can also go on in this year. They definitely should not be where they're at. And unfortunately, one of those teams will not be in NorCal.
And there's a possibility they might get an at-large, but I doubt it, because that's why they allow the section semifinalists to go. So you have, to avoid that. All right, other teams of note, 3rd seeded St. Francis of Sacramento. The Troubadours looking very strong again with Lauren Craig, one of the great scorers and rebounders in program history.
A lot of height on that team and some youth as well.
Yes, and then the 4 seed is Folsom with Mackenzie Forbes. I've seen her, you've seen her. Why is she such a factor in this playoffs?
She can do it all. We talked about it. It's like a little bit like a Magic Johnson. She makes her teammates better, and don't count them out for advancing.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be pretty impressive. All right, when we come back, we'll have more. We're going to talk about the Sac Joaquin section boys playoffs, who to look for, some of the top players. We'll throw some B-roll in there, otherwise known as highlights.
Thinking about whether a solar power system is a good fit for your home or not?
Here, try this instead.
SMUD can help. If you've got questions, SMUD's got answers. Check with SMUD before signing a contract. Visit smud.org/solaranswers.
Welcome back to the very best of high school sports in Northern California. We are MaxPreps Sacramento, brought to you by our good friends from
SMUD, the Sacramento Municipal Utilities District.
Heavy on high school hoops, the Sac Joaquin section in particular. Boys brackets, girls brackets, what to look for, top players, maybe some dark horses. We'll jump on the boys here in just a minute, but we want to get to some other pertinent business.
Yes, Joe, we have some 2 sponsored segments coming up, ones that we bring every week, ones that we enjoy doing. First off, we have a McCooney trivia question. We do this every week, high school related, of course. So let's knock it out. You got a question that's basketball related, has to do with a coach in the area.
Yes, who is the girls' coach for a high seed in the Sac Joaquin section girls basketball playoffs, who is the most accomplished professional athlete or professional basketball player?
Yep.
He had some hops. He had some game back in the day, not so much now. Now he's a coach.
Yeah, I would say not so much now. All right, but he's leading his team. Yes. That's for sure.
Slowly.
Yeah, yes. And think about that. Again, a girls basketball coach, high-ranked team, played professionally. We'll give you the answer in the final segment. And now it is time for our Placer Title Company Insiders. Placer Title Company, your title and escrow company in Northern California since the 1970s. All right, Joe, Placer Tile Companies, we're going to talk some football here. Letter of intent signings continue on. I think that's a myth that once they have signing day, they're done, but they don't.
It's the first day they get signed on signing day. It's not the only day.
Yep. Well, Folsom, the powerhouse program in our area for the last several years, has 2 more guys sign, and we're really happy for them. These are 2 quality players.
Yeah, big time. And I wrote a story in the Sacramento Bee on it and about how these 2 bookend tackles are now playing on scholarship. And now the quarterback that they were tasked with protecting, he's moving on too. That would be Jake Jeffrey, the Sacramento Bees Offensive Player of the Year, is going to Cal Poly on the Central Coast. Big Sky Conference rivals of UC Davis and Sacramento State. Great school. He wants to get into business and engineering and business finance, I should say. A lot of Folsom players have gone down there over the years, including Dan O'Graves, who is maybe the starter this fall, but he's going to have some competition in the name of a young, eager Jake Jeffrey. Jake Jeffrey was so good in big picture and talking about this the other day in the Sacramento Bee. He said, hey, competition's good. And he goes, I embrace this competition. He's the classic overachiever, statistical marvel, very bright, scholarly, but considered too small. Can he handle the rigors of the college game? I think he'll do just fine.
Very similar to Dano in their game. A little bit taller than Dano, but they run and they throw it and they're leaders.
And they're winners.
Yeah,
they're winners. And then there's also Big Cooper Richardson. Big's not his first name. We just like to call him Big Coop. But Cooper Richardson, the right tackle, 6'6", 300+ pounds, and is going to UC Davis. The mother of Cooper, Kelly Richardson, was so happy she cried. How's that work? When you're so happy you cry, tears of joy. And his father is his position coach and his head coach, Chris Richardson, who played at New Mexico State years ago. So this is what's neat about Cooper. He's an example of overcoming odds. And his odds were trying to grow into his big body. And a year ago, he could not move laterally without falling down or losing his shoe, or both. And he worked to get better feet, strength, endurance, and became a dominant player. He's earned this. He's always a terrific student and high character guy.
Well, and how cool for mom and dad to be able to see him at UC Davis. So he'll be local. I'm sure they're very happy, and he can get out and see his former team play as well. So that's the upside about staying local.
Yeah, and the other bookend tackle that we mentioned has already moved on. He's an early enrollee at University of Alabama. Pretty good program last I saw. That would be Jonah Williams. So some big-time guys moving on up. And Jonah Williams, we've been talking about him for years. I think he's going to be an NFL guy. There's already discussion that he may wind up as a starter as a freshman at Alabama.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's a first-team Parade All-American.
Yes, he is. And a lot of times the Parade All-Americans or any of these national websites, it's not so much what you did as a senior, it's just how heavily recruited are you. So you kind of, but he was hugely recruited, and he was a dominant player. Sometimes guys make these lists and they only played 3 games because of injury, but well, he was a 5-star, so we'll put him on there anyways.
You know, the thing we're talking about Jonah and Jake and Cooper, we don't say this just to be kind of fluff about it, but all really good guys. And when you see them move on and get their opportunities, you're happy for them.
Well, and it really shows that character counts.
Yep.
And, boorish, bad behavior, that'll get you eliminated in a competitive rat race.
Yep. All right, Joe, that is our Placer Title Company Insiders talking some football this week. When we come back, we have more basketball previews, Joe, plenty more. We're going to talk boys hoops.
This is your RAM Auto Update.
Just in, the classic term used car is old-fashioned, outdated, and no longer of any particular relevance. Let's party. The Roseville Auto Mall is throwing a massive factory-certified pre-owned sales event. That means incredible savings on just about every kind of car in the world. All factory certified. It's happening now. It's going fast. In layman terms, skedaddle. The Roseville Auto Mall, driven to be the best.
Thinking about whether a solar power system is a good fit for your home or not?
Here, try this instead.
SMUD can help. If you've got questions, SMUD's got answers. Check with SMUD before signing a contract. Visit smud.org/solaranswers.
All right, welcome back to the best of high school sports in Northern California. Big, strong emphasis here in the Sacramento Valley, our home base. We are MaxPreps Sacramento, brought to you by our good friends from SMUD.
How do we start that with the whole?
I had a twitch in my back, and I was trying to, you fed off of it. But
This is the Sacramento Municipal Utilities District,
yes.
SMUD.
And we're breaking down the Sac Joaquin Section Basketball Playoffs. It's underway this week. All games at 7 o'clock. Terrific hoops. I think the upper divisions are really competitive. The smaller divisions, we're going to go real quick. Division 6, Sacramento Waldorf girls, top seed in Division 6, same case for the boys. Yep. And Coach Stark has been there a long time. Dean Stark has just been a championship winner for years. He really likes this team. That's your main team. Of all these teams, Sacramento Waldorf, Sacramento Adventist, Victor Christian, Valley Christian, Stockton Christian, Fort Lake Christian. There's one public school. It's allowed. And that's Forest Hill, way up in the foothills.
It's Waldorf's to win, I would think. All right. You got that bracket?
And Sac Joaquin Section Division 5, the top seed is Bradshaw Christian, a powerhouse program for the girls, for the boys, football, baseball. Looks like another terrific year here for the boys, the pride of Sacramento. literally the pride on campus. That's their mascot there. So that's a team to look for there. And Sacramento Country Day is a team that you saw a lot last year, Mike, and they won. Sacramento Country Day, it won the Division 6 section championship last year, moves up in division. They were all freshmen, they're all sophomores this year, and they're good.
I was just going to mention, they were all freshmen last year. And Joe, when I saw that team play, I thought, wow, this is a team that's going to be around. Yeah, it says number 2 right there as the seeding, but don't be surprised if they win that Division 5 bracket.
All right, Sac Joaquin Section Division 4. The number 1 seed is Central Catholic of Modesto. This is the team that does a lot of damage in football. There's a lot of good athletes in basketball. Earned the number 1 seed over second-seeded Liberty Ranch of Galt. Liberty Ranch is 28-0. There are only 3 unbeaten teams in the state. How come it's a number 2 seed? I think it's the right call. Central Catholic is has had a stronger schedule. Doesn't matter really because they're on the opposite sides of the bracket.
And kudos to the coaching staff there at Liberty Ranch and the players. They lost some talent with Stallings last year, and here they are playing well.
Only one main guy returned in the top 8, and that was Isaiah Housley, the 6-man last year. He's their leading player, leading rebounder, scorer, assist guy, 6'1", point guard, does a lot of things. They don't even have anybody over 6'2".
Yeah,
I don't think it's allowed. So Josh Williams is doing a terrific job coaching, and this is a team that's doing well. Expects to do a lot of damage. And West Campus is a dark horse out of Sacramento, a 3 seed, almost beat Capital Christian Golden Empire League play the first time that they played, so this is a talented team. Highlands is a 7 seed, is a nice dark horse as well. Isaiah Tenet, a terrific football player, a terrific basketball player, 5'7" guard, can do a lot of things, a scholar, a leader. He's got a little bit more hops than you and I, not much. So the Division 4 is looking pretty formidable.
Yep. All right, Division 3 now.
All right, the top seed is Western Ranch out of Stockton, a relatively new school, tough schedule, good program, certainly. And then on the bottom, it's Capital Christian, the defending multiple winner in smaller divisions, moved up. Capital Christian of Sacramento went to the NorCal Open Finals a few years ago. And then last year went to the state CIF Division 4 championship. A lot of players back. Tegan Jones is the point guard there, the son of Coach Devon Jones.
Yeah, you gotta like Capital Christian. That's a loaded team. I had a chance to see them this year. You know, you're gonna get solid performance from Lincoln Christian Brothers. These are all solid teams, but Capital Christian, that's a hard school to ignore right there in that bracket.
Yeah, and I agree. And Elias King is the star leader for Christian Brothers at the dark horse for Sacramento. Elias King, 6'7", 6'8", wing player, only a sophomore, could play inside, outside. Those are the kind of guys that can win games.
Difference makers for sure, yeah.
And then number 4, Placer is a factor,
Yes.
certainly, in their come as well. I think it's a pretty competitive field.
It's a balanced bracket for sure, no doubt.
All right, Sac Joaquin Section Division 2 boys basketball playoff. One team comes to mind. They're big, they're talented, they're experienced. They got a great coach in Derek Swafford, the Sacramento Dragons. Sacramento Bees, top-ranked team for most of the season. I don't think anybody's going to slow them down in this boat race.
No, you look at this, that should be theirs to win. Certainly, they're coming out of the top half of that bracket. You know, Whitney had a great year this year for sure. You've got some really good teams. Sacramento, though, don't want to put them up too much, but that's the team that you would think that come out of this bracket.
And Christian Terrell, 4-year starting guard, gives you ball handling, leadership, size in the backcourt. And then Solomon Young is a gritty, tough, feisty, Dennis Rodman, relentless energy type of player. And then the number 2 seed is the Antelope Titans. Coach Rob Richards has had powerhouse programs before. They've got the Titan fans, the Red Zone. That's maybe the best rooting section in all of Sacramento, so they'll get loud and proud.
And you'll get a performance out of Kai Teese, their star player there.
He is, and he's the all-time career scorer in school history. He's had a big year. He's going to need a big playoff run here to get that showdown with Sac High.
Yeah, we're not doing predictions, but that's one bracket where I'd say Sacramento should win that. For sure.
All right, Sac Joaquin Section Division 1 boys basketball bracket. The number 1 seed is Folsom. I think that's the right spot, even though that it has 3 losses. But it's the wins within section that really count, including head-to-head wins against Modesto Christian, which only has 1 loss. Season opener, 2, Folsom. And Folsom also has a head-to-head win against Sheldon, the 3 seed. To me, that's as good a 1-2-3 punch as we've ever had in the Sac Joaquin section for Division 1. Any of those teams could win it. Folsom barely beat Modesto Christian. Folsom barely beat Sheldon. Who knows what happens in the big house where nerves and all that. Folsom edged Sheldon in the section championship last year. A lot of those players are back. A lot of guards for both of these teams. And all 3 of those teams may get put into the open division as well.
Yeah, and look at this bracket. We haven't even mentioned Wood Creek and Jordan Brown, what he could do. Jesuit solid top to bottom.
Jesuit with Malik Duffy could play inside and out.
Granite Bay is a
with
very
Charlie
good
Tooley.
team.
Charlie Tooley is going to Nevada to play basketball for Coach Eric Musselman. And
you got the big man.
Darren Nelson as well. He rolled his ankle, so that's going to be interesting to see how he's going to be there, but they're teenage kids, so they come back pretty fast. So terrific field there. Sac Joaquin section brackets are online under the Sac Joaquin section office. We got all kinds of news and notes every day on these games, these tournaments with photo gallery, sacb.com, and also check out our friends here on MaxPreps.com as well.
I agree. Well, it's going to be fun. We can't wait to get started. There goes the bracket. All right, Joe, one more order of business here. We have our Mukuni trivia answer, and we gave you the question back in the last segment. Why don't you repeat it, and then we'll give them the answer.
All right. Who is the girls' basketball coach in the Sac Joaquin section, a high seed, who is a very accomplished professional player, still a legend? It was overseas. He's a legend in his own mind. That's okay. We think he's a big-time player, too. He's a big-time coach now. He has no more hops, no more lateral quickness. You'll see that on B-roll here in a minute.
Well, the answer to that would be Sean Chambers of Antelope High School, and a legend in the Philippines.
Yeah, revered. And they still have anniversaries. And he's one of the great players. And he was a key player for Highlands High School in 1983. That team went 33-1. He was their above-the-rim player. Sean can't get above the rim unless he's cutting the net down now, but he loves coaching basketball. He never thought he'd be coaching girls basketball and found out, you know what? These girls pay attention, they hustle, they compete. He coached the girls at Highlands for a few years. Now he's over at Antelope. This is a team he expects to be in the state CIF finals. A lot of scoring, a lot of talent, but it all starts with a coach. This coach has got game. We could verify it right here.
All right, well, we're going to look ahead to the playoffs. Did that all show long. You got to get a deep inhale, exhale, because we spent a lot of hours out at Sleep Train a couple weeks and throughout March, and of course there's so much basketball going on. One final thought, anything different about this playoffs? Any intrigue for you? Do you see a lot of the same horses as always?
Probably the same horses, but upsets do happen. It's going to be interesting, as always, to see how these teams handle the pressure of the big house of Sleep Train Arena. The depth of field is different. The ball sounds different on the floor. It's still 10-foot rims. The ball's still the same size. But this is where the nerves come in. And the poise teams, they handle it. And I think sometimes we take it for granted. Yeah, they're out there competing, but they're high school kids. And sometimes the way they handle the pressure on the free throw line or executing a last play diagram play is very impressive. It's the impressive players and coaches.
Yeah, we're going to see some upsets. We know that usually happens somewhere along the line. We're going to see some heartbreakers. It's going to be fun. Can't wait to get it going. All right, Joe, another show in the books. Can't wait to be out for playoff time. Check us out every week, MaxPreps.com, powered by Smud. Thanks for watching.